Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and we are close to 100 episodes of this series, which is pretty crazy, to be honest. We would have hit it last year if I wasn't out of the office for as long as I was, obviously with the birth of my daughter, which I'm very glad I was out of office for that, obviously. But it means we're going to hit 100 early this year, which is super exciting and kind of crazy when you think about it. You know, every single week we've been trying to do these videos, and it's really, you know, it's not a view count thing. We don't get a lot of views on these at all. Ad revenue from YouTube is non-existent at this level. So it really is just so you guys and girls can see the watches up close. Now, I do want to say, last week's episode, really great feedback. Thank you very much. Someone pointed out, I say obviously a lot, and I really don't mean it in a condescending or patronizing way at all. It's clearly just, as someone else said, an over familiarization of the word, and it totally is that. So I do apologize, and I'll work on not saying obviously so much. So thank you for the feedback. But yes, today's drop is an interesting one as always. A big range of watches, some really great affordable mid-range watches, which I'm always trying to get more in, especially after the past few weeks of getting some big heavy hitters in, and believe me, there are more of those to come, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, so from Seiko, entry-level Seiko, to King Seiko Limited Edition, to a Grand Seiko, all in the same drop, which I think is really cool, and we'll be able to see all of those up close. My favorite is the Day-Date, is absolutely gorgeous. The watch is currently on hold as of the time we're recording this video, and it will be still going up on the website, but it may be as on hold. Just waiting for a customer to come back into the country, and we're going to potentially do a part exchange deal on it. So that may be gone by the time you're watching this, or it may still be around just as on hold until he comes back. So I just want to make that very clear when it comes to that. What's on wrist? I've stolen my wife's watch. This is 1950s Wittnauer with a Valjoux 72, beautiful original dial, original case, original Valjoux 72 Wittnauer sign movement. Everything about this watch is lovely, and I found this strap in a drawer. It goes really well with the watch, like a mustard colour strap. It looks hand stitched. It has no branding. I have no idea where it's from, so I apologise. A lot of people have been asking. I have no clue. Unfortunately, we buy a lot of watches, and sometimes they come in on brand new straps, and the strap, in my opinion, doesn't suit it, so I take it off. And if the strap is in very good condition, I'll put it aside maybe for something else in the future. And this was one of those straps. But that's enough of the rambling, I think. Let's crack on with what you're here to see, which is the watches. And we're going to start off with my favourite on the table, and you wait till you see the condition of this one. It is fantastic. This is a really beautiful 1988 Rolex Day-Date 18038, which means it's the quick set. So let's take a closer look. So first up for this week's drop is this absolutely gorgeous Rolex Day-Date. This is the reference 18038, so part of the 5-digit reference with the quick set date. It's in fantastic condition, as you can see, with a beautiful original champagne dial with original champagne hands as well. Just absolutely fantastic and really, really gorgeous. Nice fluted bezel, nice condition all round. And one very important thing with these, and I think I mentioned it in the video, is the stretch on the bracelet. And this bracelet has very minimal stretch. This is pretty close to what it would have been out of the factory, because you have to think there is a gap between the links in general. And you can just see condition really, really is key when it comes to these older models, especially full gold like this one on the presidential bracelet. Really, really beautiful example. Now, beaten away inside here is the automatic Rolex caliber 3055, and this one's from circa 1988. And this does come with its original box, which is a nice huge Rolex box. You'll see that on the website. It also does have one spare link. The bracelet is -2 links for being full for the period. And this one is circa 1988, as I said, an R serial. This one comes fully serviced and recently polished, as you can see. It has been worn a couple of times since polish, so there are a couple of scratches, hairlines here and there, but nothing major at all, as you can see. It's just a very good example. But let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here you can see it on my 7-inch wrist, just a very, very comfortable, very good looking watch. Obviously, this is a lot of gold, and I know that won't be for everyone, and that's perfectly fine. So what you're seeing here is 36mm by 43.5mm lug to lug, 12.5mm thick and 20mm on the lugs. One good thing about this watch is on a brown strap it tones it right down. If you think this is a bit too much gold, you know, you can tone it down with a brown strap, but to be honest that's kind of the point of this look. You know, it's a full gold watch for a reason. So head on over to the website and check it out today. From a beautiful Rolex Day-Date, let's go over to a Grand Seiko High Beat GMT, another fantastic watch with a really beautiful subtle texture on the dial, which you can only get in certain lights or if you're looking at nice and close. You know, Grand Seiko, they're fantastic for the money. You really cannot go wrong. So let's take a closer look at this one. So next up, the Grand Seiko High Beat GMT with this beautiful black dial. And as I said, it has a very subtle texture, which is very difficult to capture. So hopefully you can see it on some of our photos. It's like this high level grain. It's really, really cool. This is the reference SBGJ203G, and this one's from January 2022 with its full box and paperwork. And inside, beaten away behind this exhibition caseback, is the automatic Grand Seiko caliber 9S86, a very, very nice looking movement. Again, the thing with Grand Seiko is you either love them or you don't, and that's what I'm noticing. And for me, I think they are fantastic, especially at the price point pre-owned, where you can get something like a High Beat GMT that looks this good and is super stealth on the wrist. Now what I mean by that is often people see the word Seiko and they think it's a couple of £100 watch, which I actually really personally like about Grand Seiko. I know for some people they don't like the idea that they've got a multiple £1,000 watch on their wrist and people think it's a more affordable watch. For me, it doesn't bother me at all. If anything, I like that appeal, and this is absolutely beautiful and just a very good looking example. Screw down crown as well. This definitely falls in the line of a sports watch, whilst also being, in my opinion, quite dressy. You know, you put this on a nice black leather strap, you've got yourself quite a dressy looking watch in my opinion. Obviously that's helped by the Zaratsu finishing, which is the finishing they do on the case and the hands, which creates this super sharp angle all the way around. It's very Japanese in its finish of sort of high detail and intricate detail. Yeah, really good looking watch. I don't think you can go wrong with these at all. So as I say, January 2022, box and papers, and this is one of the newer references. Obviously a fair while ago you would have Seiko on the dial and Grand Seiko down at the bottom. Now it is just Grand Seiko. So let's show this on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. It's a very comfortable watch. It is on the slightly thicker side, but the case and the way it wears I think is super comfortable. So what you're looking at is 40mm by 46mm lug to lug, 14mm thick and 19mm on the lugs. Yes, a little bit awkward, but there are strap options out there. And to be honest, if you're spending £4,000 or thereabouts on a watch, I think you can definitely go to someone like the Strap Tailor and spend £100 on a more sort of custom strap. That's what I do personally. So go check this one out on the website today. Now let's switch it up completely with a really cool Zenith Defy. This is a vintage Zenith Defy automatic. We're calling it near new old stock because it is in fantastic condition. It has been worn a couple of times, so it's not true new old stock, but to be honest, you're not going to find a better condition example. It's really cool. Some of you may remember this. I owned this myself briefly, sold it. That person loved it, but the condition's just a bit too nice for him, and he has sort of a strict rule of wearing every single watch, which I respect. So this is now come back to be sold on and for one of you guys and girls out there to enjoy. So don't miss this opportunity. So let's take a closer look. So as a lot of you know, I am a huge Zenith fan and a huge Zenith Defy fan. So this model, when I first bought it, you can see the appeal. It is absolutely incredible. So unapologetically 1970s with this square case, square dial with a circle dial on the inside, those pops of red on the second hand, and that beautiful tritium all the way around. That dial is so crystal clean. It's crazy. And as you can see, paired on its original Zenith bracelet, which takes this very aggressive taper down to the clasp and just looks so good in my opinion. Again, 70s watches are either, you know, you either love them or you don't. I am personally a huge fan, and I just like how this case looks and wears as well. And one good thing about this watch is the dimensions, you know, on paper sound and look very small, but when you see it on wrist, this is not a small watch. It wears very well. I won't bore you with the reference of this one. You can see it on the website. It's a fairly long reference, but this one's circa 1970s, and inside is the automatic Zenith caliber 45.6. As you can see, it has a date complication there as well. just a very nice looking example. As I said, near new old stock. You will see a couple of scratches here and there from wear or storage over the years, but to be honest, this is as close you're going to get as new old stock, in my opinion, for this reference. I've never even seen this reference anywhere else other than with us, so that's an interesting point to make as well. But they show on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. As you can see, this does not look small at all. It looks perfectly fine on the wrist, and dimensions wise, if it was any bigger, I think it'd be a bit unwearable for most of us. So what you're looking at is 32mm by 35mm lug to lug, 10.5mm thick and 25mm at the lugs, obviously tapering down to the clasp. A very good looking watch and very of its time, but also kind of futuristic at the same time. I love this watch, so go check it out on the website today. From there, let's go over to something we're very excited to get in. As you've probably seen, the wait lists on these are insane. You just cannot get one. And this is the AnOrdain. This is the Model 1 Blue Textured Fumé, retailed by James Porter & Son, so it has their name on the bottom, which I really like. And we'll take a closer look at this one. So next up, a AnOrdain, and what you're looking at here is the Model 1 Blue Fumé in 38mm. As you've probably seen on the AnOrdain website, if you've checked it out recently, every single model is sold out and every single model is on a wait list. And I think that wait list is about 3 years across almost every model at minimum, and they require a deposit obviously to make an order. So very strange situation. I think they can't produce as many as maybe they should. I don't know what the deal is, but what you've got here is a very gorgeous watch, a really interesting and nice blue dial with that textured blue Fumé enamel that AnOrdain are famous for. This is what they do over in Scotland. And interestingly as well, you can see this one retailed by James Porter & Son. I love that little detail of them putting their name on the dials of the watches they sell, or at least some of them, obviously not all of them. It feels very traditional, very much a throwback to the old days of, you know, having Tiffany & Co stamped on the dial. I know they still do that with some Pateks, but you know, Tiffany & Co, Googlin, all these different brands. I think it's really cool that James Porter & Son are doing it for here in the UK, over in Scotland. So inside this one is the automatic Sellita SW200. They give you an option between sort of a manually wound and a different automatic movement and the Sellita, and this one has the Sellita. It's from August 2021. It does come with its box and paperwork. It's paired on its original AnOrdain strap, which is a nice sort of brown vintage style. It's just a good looking watch, and again, price wise as well, considering you cannot buy these and some of the asking prices online, which are absolutely bonkers, we're asking pretty reasonable. I think it's around, or if not a little bit under retail, so go check this one out. But they're shot on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. You can see super comfortable and very good looking. 38mm by 46mm lug to lug, only 11mm thick and 18mm on the lugs. Definitely a bit of a smaller lug size, but I kind of like that. I like that aggressive taper it has. Nice case proportions as well. So go check this one out on the website today. Now let's go over to the King Seiko 140th anniversary limited edition, a really, really gorgeous watch. This is for the proper Seiko nuts out there. You're going to really like this. It feels so true to the original whilst being a little bit bigger, a little bit beefier, and definitely feels like a modern reiteration of the vintage watch, which I'm all for. So let's take a closer look at this one. So next up is the Seiko King Seiko 140th anniversary limited edition of 3000. Now, as I said in the intro, this feels like a vintage watch but done in modern, slightly more modern proportions and modern build quality, and they've really nailed that. Really beautiful case and profile and very clean classic dial. I really like this watch. This is the reference SJE083J1, and inside is the automatic Seiko caliber 6L35, a very reliable movement. As you can see, a nice gold medallion on there, limited edition number stated as well. This one is from March 2021. It does come with its box and paperwork, original strap and buckle, which the buckle is absolutely gorgeous. I love how that looks. Just a really good looking watch, and again, you know, it's nice to see Seiko really pushing the boundaries of their vintage line and doing re-editions. Now, they are doing a lot, to be fair, and I think that kind of plagued this watch a little bit when it was released. There were so many different limited editions released at the time of this one. It was very popular, but not as popular as I think they had hoped, and maybe they would have benefited from only doing 1,000 rather than 3,000. But either way, the price we're asking for this one is super fair when you consider limited edition, complete set, condition is worn but very fair, and again, just a good looking watch. I don't think you can go wrong. But let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. And again, this is where this watch just really shines in the proportions and the way it wears on the wrist. I love those big thick lugs. and the chamfers on them as well. It's just a good looking watch. So what you're looking at right here is 38mm by 44.5mm lug to lug, only 11mm thick and 20mm on the lugs. Thank you Seiko for not being awkward. And again, this just lends itself for a wide array of straps. You can put brown on it and the crazy color if you wanted. That silver dial just allows you to do that. So go check this one out on the website today. From there, we've got a couple of Doxas on the table, and we're going to start with this one. This is the Sub 300 TC Rambler with a very hefty bracelet, and I believe this is the 50th anniversary edition as well. So slightly different to the main run that they did. So let's take a closer look. Next up is the Doxa. This is the Sub 300 TC Rambler 50th anniversary edition, which is just a good looking watch. Obviously Doxa have been producing some fantastic watches as of late, and again their price points are just so attractive, and this one is no different. On the case back, nice, clear, simple, and it also states about the 50th anniversary. And the buckle is also very, very good. You have a little slider here that allows you to adjust the dive extension, which you can do on the fly, nice and easy. And the good thing about these watches is you can get a very, very close and comfortable fit, which I really, really like. Very sturdy clasp. I'm quite amazed by that one. You can see nice silver dial, big bright orange minute hand, which is a very distinct clear thing from Doxa back in the day. Obviously a nice orange on the bezel as well. Just a good looking watch, really good looking watch. I won't bore you with the reference, you can see that on the website. Being away inside is the automatic ETA 2824-2, a very renowned and well used movement. And this one's from December 2019 with its box and papers and its spare links as well for this beads of rice style bracelet. These are definitely, you know, slightly on the thicker side and the bigger side, but they wear so well. I always sort of compare it for those who have not tried these on, but have tried on a Seiko Turtle. It's a very similar thing in my opinion with the wear, the way the case wears. So let's show this on wrist and tall dimensions. And here you can see it on my 7-inch wrist. It's a big watch, but again, it wears well. It doesn't look too big on my wrist in my opinion. So what you're looking at is 42.5mm by 45mm lug to lug, 13.5mm thick and 20mm on the lugs. There's endless options swapping this one out for a different strap if you so choose, but to be honest, the beads of rice just really completes the look of this one. So go check it out on the website today. From there to the Sub 200 Divingstar, this time in orange. We've had a few of these colours over the years, and as I said, every single time retail on this is undeniable value, and if you're interested, pick one up at retail brand new, but when it becomes pre-owned, the deal just becomes even more insane in my opinion. You can't go wrong at all. So let's take a closer look at this one. And following on from the Doxa just gone, this time the Sub 200. Really, really cool piece with the orange dial in 42mm. As I said at the intro, these watches at retail, just under £1,000, are incredible and undeniable value. So when they become pre-owned like this, the value just skyrockets in my opinion, and again becomes even more undeniable. This reference is from April 2020. I won't bore you with the reference again, you can see that on the website. And beating away inside is the automatic ETA 2824. Which is behind this nicely decorated case back with the fish, as you can see proudly stated on the clasp as well. Nice solid milled clasp, and you have extension that you can adjust there, and obviously screw links for the beads of rice. Just a very good looking, comfortable watch. And one thing I really like is the pop of orange that they've put on the crown as well, and on the bezel. The bezel really does look like an old Bakelite bezel in my opinion. Just really good looking. So let's show this one on wrist and tall dimensions. And there you go on my 7-inch wrist. This one, if you're a bit concerned of the size of the Sub 300 TC Rambler we just looked at, this wears a lot smaller, even though it's not really that much different on the dimensions. So what you're looking at is 42mm by 46mm lug to lug, 13.5mm thick and 19mm on the lugs. Doxa offer fitted rubber straps, which are fantastic, and I'd highly recommend picking up one for this watch if you do take this watch. You just can't go wrong, and then you've got both options. So check this one out on the website today. From there over to a Sinn 104 on the leather strap. Again, another cool classic. People absolutely love Sinn, rightfully so. The sort of German watchmaking is incredible and at an affordable price as well. Sinn and Damasco, I think, are some of my favorites out of the region. So let's take a closer look at this one. Next up is this awesome Sinn. This is the 104 STSA in black with the black leather strap. a good looking watch. I know I've said that with most of these watches today, but that's the case. You know, we try and buy what I like first and foremost as well, because at the end of the day, if I'm going to have some stock around, I want it to be stuff I personally want to look at as well. And this is a very, very cool looking watch. You've got a Day-Date over there, a nice screw down crown, nice case profile as well, and very solid chamfers. It feels very German in sort of like a strong, tough design. As we flip it over, nice exhibition case back, gold plated rotor with Sinn proudly stated. And beaten away in here is the automatic Sellita SW220-1. Very reliable, highly used movement across the watch world, to be honest, especially at this price point, sort of just around £1,000. You really cannot go wrong with that movement. This one's from November 2015, just come with its box and paperwork, and is in very fair condition considering its age. It's been lightly worn. This is the original strap, and you can see it is not worn to death. Original buckle as well, which is obviously signed. But let's show this one on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. I just love how that looks on the wrist. It sort of fills the wrist to the perfect proportion for me personally. And I think that just looks really good. So what we're looking at here is 40mm by 46.5mm lug to lug, 11.5mm thick, and 20mm on the lug. So endless options, although the classic black is very good. You could totally swap it for some other stuff as well. I think a lot of people wear this on the NATO, and Sinn offer a bracelet as well. But go check this one out on the website today. From there over to a Farer Ponting Black GMT. Very, very cool limited edition. Just a very good looking watch. If you're into all black watches, this may be the one to give it a try with if you've not already. I think black watches, all black watches, you either love them or you don't. So let's see. Let's take a close look at this one. So next up, the Farer Ponting Black GMT limited edition. And this is just really cool. As you can see, that pop of colour with the blue, the red, the green, all contrasted against this deep black dial and black case. And black strap and black buckle. It just looks good, and they've even gone to the effort of a black case back. I know it sounds minimal, but a lot of them put a steel case back because you don't see it, and obviously as you wear the watch as well, it doesn't really matter. Now what you're seeing beaten away there is the automatic ETA 2893-2, and this one's from December 2018 with its box and paperwork, and is in pretty much like new condition. You know, you can see it has been worn. The strap has got you know, a dent in it where it's obviously been worn a fair few times, but the case is pretty much mint. There isn't really any signs of wear, which I think is important on an all black watch. Personally, I like how worn black watches look over time. I'm talking like 10-15 years of wear where they start to get all that wear and the steel starts to show. I think that looks really cool, and some brands actually force that look, which I think is quite interesting. But this one, you haven't got to worry about any of that. It's ready to go and be enjoyed as is. But let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Very well proportioned, very thin, and just a very good looking GMT if you're after something a bit different. 39.5mm by 45mm lug to lug, only 11mm thick, which is super thin for this complication, and 20mm on the lugs. I'd personally be keeping it on this strap, but there are plenty of options you could do. Maybe black with sort of blue stitching, that could be quite cool. But go check this one out on the website today. From there over to a Longines Conquest Heritage, the silver dial, classic 35mm, the one that is easily mistaken for the original, because it's just that good. And I think even, again, just like the Doxa, at retail this is undeniable value, so when it becomes pre-owned like this, I think you should snap it up if you're into this kind of look. So let's take a close look. Next up is this Longines Conquest. This is the Heritage Conquest Automatic with the date in the silver. A very good looking watch. Nice original Longines crown, and again that sort of enameled gold medallion. Very true to the original, and I think this is where this watch really has shined bright since its release. People have absolutely loved this reference, both in the black and the silver, because it is so true to the original. The proportions, the fact it's a Hesse-like crystal, the thickness of it, everything about it looks and feels like a vintage watch. And I actually have a Longines Conquest 50s piece in at the moment, which is in for service, which may be coming to the website soon. But again, seeing both next to each other is quite interesting and very well done by Longines. The reference to this one is the L1.611.4.75.2. Inside is an automatic Longines caliber L633, which is basically an ETA 2824 or along those sort of lines. And this one is from July 2021 with its box and paperwork. So let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. And there we go on my 7-inch wrist. This watch has been very well looked after. since 2021. It's been worn lightly, which is nice. So what you're looking at is 35mm by 42.5mm lug to lug. Do not be afraid of under 36mm. This looks fantastic. Only 9.5mm thick, and do keep in mind some of that is that heavily domed crystal. So again, super thin on the wrist, and 18mm on the lugs. This on a brown suede. I know I put brown suede on everything, but this on brown suede truly does look fantastic. So go check this one out on the website today. From there over to a Christopher Ward, but this is a super early Christopher Ward. This is the C50 chronometer. Very, very cool looking, very clean, very classic. It is heavily worn, and we can have it polished for you at an additional cost, but we didn't want to get that done beforehand, just in case you're not bothered and you like the wear, but also because obviously we'd have to pass that cost on to the price of this, and we wanted it to be priced nice, fair, and competitively, and then you can make that decision. So let's take a closer look. So next up, the Christopher Ward. This is the C50 chronometer, or COSC model, with the day date over there. Nice silver dial, very nice case in general. It just looks and feels good. One of the old Christopher Ward logos, one of many that they've gone through, as a lot of you know. Interestingly, a signed screw down crown as well, with this kind of dressy look, which just adds that little bit more of confidence with it. Nicely decorated, or redecorated rotor on the movement, and what you're looking at is a chronometer certified automatic ETA 2824 or a Zenith SW200. They don't really state which one they use. It could be one or the other. And this one's from December 2012 with its box and paperwork. Has its original deployment buckle. The strap is non-genuine or non-original Christopher Ward, but it is very good quality still, and obviously you can switch and swap straps. That's not really the focus here. The focus is always the watch. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, we can have the case repolished for you, as well as the buckle. We can get a quote on what that would be. It's up to you really. It is heavily worn, so do keep that in mind. But if you're going to wear this regularly, I think this watch was worn regularly as a daily piece back in the day. So that's, you know, visible in the wear. And if you're going to do that again yourself, I personally wouldn't bother getting it polished, because it doesn't look terrible, to be honest. But if you are wanting it to look brand spanking new, or as shiny as possible again, we can get that done for you. But let's show this on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. As you can see, 39mm by 47mm lug to lug, only 10.5mm thick, and 18mm on the lugs. Nice small strap for the case size, and again, it just provides more of an elegant look, in my opinion. And very interesting silver dial. It almost has like a more yellowy tone, which I kind of like. So go check it out on the website today. And last but by no means least, the brightest, well, one of the brightest watches on the table. This is the SKX011J with the orange dial and the sort of gold highlights on the bezel. Really great looking watch. Again, for the money we're asking for this as well, I think is just very good value. So let's take a closer look at this one. So Seiko SKX time, this time with the the 011J, which is this very vibrant orange dial with the black bezel with the gold on the inside, and you also have gold hands to match. Nice day date. It's a classic SKX. You know, if you've ever owned the 007 or the 009, you'll be very familiar with this proportion and feel. It's just this model has that very colourful dial, which some of you really love and some of you not so much. You know, obviously screw down crown, solid screw down case back, and beating away inside is the 7S26, which is pre-hand winding, so it's the Seiko shuffle to get it going, or just putting it on wrist. This one's from March 2018. It does come with its papers. It doesn't have a box, unfortunately, but yeah, that's all there really is to say about it. It comes on its original Seiko rubber strap. I'm personally not a fan of these rubber straps. I find them a bit too stiff, so I'd be swapping this out for a different strap, or personally finding a aftermarket Uncle Seiko bracelet, or even an original bracelet. I'm pretty sure they're still available on eBay, Jubilee or something, and wearing it on that. That's what I'd do. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Classic proportions. Again, the rubber strap does beef it up a little bit, but nothing too crazy. 42mm by 46mm lug to lug, 13mm thick, and 22mm on the lugs. So endless options for straps as well. But go check this one out on the website today. So there you have it, guys and girls. This week's drop, 12 watches. We are doing our best to keep that number at maximum of 12, because we are getting a lot of watches in stock, which is fantastic. And as you guys and girls, if you're following on Instagram or in our broadcast list, you'll see we are turning out a lot of stuff before it makes it to the website, which is very exciting, and I'm really grateful for that. And I'm kind of glad as well, because we would have 4 or 5 drops ahead ready if we weren't selling as much as we are. So that's thanks to you guys and girls. I really do appreciate it. But head over to the website, check these out. And the great thing is, you know, there's good descriptions, really nice photos. So even just for a Saturday morning, which is when this will go out, sit there with your coffee, going through the website and just having a look at what we got. We usually have around 100 watches in stock. So there really is something for everyone at all price ranges. So go check it out. We'll see you all again next time. Take care.